to it. This would be a really good sort of wrap up, I think, from Shoma and Toby's presentation. And for me, from a sales perspective, it's all about how do we make more sales in our business in any market condition, okay? Because we're going to have boom times and we're going to have bust times, and that's just a fact. So who this presentation is really for, in my mind, it's if you are a current small business owner and you're wanting to seriously increase your sales and your bottom line, and you're wanting to scale your business to another level so that you're creating something that is of real value, all right? The difference between a business and a job is a business you can walk away and it still runs without you. A job, you can't. So for those that don't know much about me, I just want to pre-frame this because really there's four key areas that I focus a lot of my work in. The first component is mindset. Then I talk a lot about skills, cultures, and tools. But today's presentation is really about mindset, because I think if you want to get better at your sales, you must get better at the way that you think. And I've had nearly 30 years of experience. I've sold millions of dollars of products and services. I've done it face-to-face. I've done it over the phone. I've done it online. I've done it on stage. I've sold tangible and intangible products. So I really have a good grasp of the whole sales environment, right from tier one corporates to mum and dad consumers. And when COVID hit, that's when I wrote my book, The Art of Authentic Selling. And that was a really big brain dump of how we must be operating better in order to create more sales in our business. And it's really moving me away. This presentation will highlight the difference between what I call the industrial age of operation through to the relationship age of operation. And it wasn't until I had my first six-figure commission month that I realized that everything that I was doing in sales was wrong. So why do I do what I do? Unfortunately, we all know that 95% of small businesses fail in their first 5 years. I've actually lost two businesses myself. One I lost 12 months before the pandemic. One I lost during the pandemic. Both to circumstances out of my control. And when I realized how much time, energy, effort, money, resources that was invested into building those businesses, Toby, here's another $1 for you, mate. I wish I'd come and seen you before I did all that, because I would have saved myself a lot of heartache. Then I worked as a business broker. And what was fascinating to learn as a business broker is that 90% of businesses are unsaleable. And what I learned through that process is that the reason that they're unsaleable is because small business owners have the wrong mindset. They do not have the right tools, systems, and procedures in place. Their culture is not right. And obviously, they do not invest in upskilling. I personally have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on myself to become better at communication, because that to me is what sales is all about. So, and this sort of takes on a little bit the next step from where Shoma was coming from. The difference between sales and marketing is that marketing generates you leads. The marketing industry has been very good at telling people that you get more leads, you will make more sales. It's actually not the truth, and I'll share with you why. It's the sales systems, the culture, the tools, the skills, and the mindset that turns those leads into sales. And what many business owners have forgotten is that sales is actually simple. I see people every day that can't sell. They're too scared to sell. They don't want to be the salesperson in their business, and they actually, they just don't know how to do it. But it's because they're focusing on selling. They're not focusing on service. All we are is to provide a solution, and this is what Toby was sharing before, to someone else's problems. And we only need to sell what people want or what people need. The personal development industry is very, very good, and I've been in it for a decade, on how to juice people up emotionally to buy more than what they actually need. And you don't need to do that. So this is where we move away from what I call old school selling to new age selling. And Shoma was talking about this initially, and this is where this will sort of lead on a little bit. How did you feel when you got your last big sale? And you know what, it doesn't even have to be a big sale, but how did you feel when you got your last sale? Because this will determine where you're operating from. Why did you feel the way that you felt? Were you celebrating success? Was it a big milestone? Was it a massive achievement? Was it whatever the goal was? I don't know. But this is the differential. Were you celebrating that win for you, or were you celebrating that win for your client? And unfortunately, business owners are focusing on the seller's journey. They're not focusing on the buyer's journey. And this is where this mindset shift in today's presentation is going to come into play. So the industrial age of business, this is what I've labeled it. It's a 100% transactional world. It is a business is business philosophy. It's KPI orientated and it's fear-based. How do you guys feel when someone says to you, Karen, don't take this personally, it's just business? I mean, talk about ripping my being apart when someone says that to me. I can't stand it. And the reason for that is because the intention behind the industrial age of business is transactional, and it's all about how much can I get from you. Put your hands up if you felt like you've been used as a walking ATM. We've all felt that, right? So this is what we need to move away from. When we look at the industrial age of business, this flow chart's going to explain to you why this is a broken model in my mind. Those that are in the marketing world understand we need 21 touch points now in order to build enough trust for someone to want to buy from us. Those 21 touch points are going to come from things like SEO, AdWords, Facebook, LinkedIn, networking groups, email campaigns, referrals, and then let's really get this going on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. I mean, how many different platforms must you be on in order to keep touching your prospects as a touch point? It's becoming out of control. And the reason it's out of control is because our buyers are disengaged. Now, what I learned and my experience has been this in the direct sales, my whole career has been commission selling. In the industrial age of business, you get 100 leads through your doors, you will only get 3 sales. That is the bottom line. So what that means is that all that time, all that energy, all that effort, all those resources that's going into generating leads means that you're only going to get 3 sales at the end of the day. And I'll show you why in a minute. But out of those 100 leads, you're going to have a maximum 40 conversations with people. That's it. The first 60% of those people are never going to buy from you. And in those 40 conversations, the touch points, the follow-ups, everything that needs to happen in order to build enough trust and confidence in a direct world is insane. It's so much wasted time. And the unfortunate reality is that when we operate from that industrial place in that transactional selling model, your likelihood of repeat business, long-term client retention, and referral business is not there, because the focus is not on building, growing, and establishing what we have. The focus is on next sale, next sale, next sale. The issue that I see with most small business owners is that 48% of people do not follow up. I shared a post on LinkedIn that someone else did the other day about when you make an appointment with someone and they no-show you. I mean, the way that the world is going right now is that people are so disengaged that they're not following up, they're not turning up, there's just no communication, there's no interaction. And this is why I can't sustain the bad side. 35 to 50% of sales are actually made in the first follow-up, so that if you don't follow up straight away, you've knocked out 50% of your sales. And the unfortunate reality is because consumers are so disengaged that buyers might take up to 5 different follow-ups before they're prepared to engage you. And that to me is a complete waste of time. So that's why, in my view, the industrial age of business isn't working. So why isn't it working? Well, through all of my personal development and education, I've really come to understand how the human brain works. We really have 3 brains. We have the reptilian brain, we have the cortex brain, and we have the limbic brain. The reptilian brain and the cortex brain is where I say that is the transactional world that we live in. And the limbic brain is the relationship world that we live in. You can see very quickly your prospects, how they're operating, whether they're operating from that reptilian mind. And that is, when was the last time you saw someone that said, oh, I've just got to get another sale? You can see the desperation in them. You know that someone has that commission breath, is what we call it, where they're just they're operating out of fright and flight because they're in survival mode. You don't want to do business with these people because they're just desperate. You can tell when someone's operating from the cortex brain, because the cortex brain is where all of our rational, logical, analytical thinking, the reasoning and the decision making is coming into play. A lot of the courses that I did, a lot of the training that I did, I mean, I did Robbins and Proctor and Ziegler and Hopkins and I mean, all of them, NLP, I did Reiki, I did so much stuff to really learn how human beings work, that all of the sales presentations that we did in the past were all through the cortex brain, because it was all about getting people for them to say, yep, that makes sense, where do I sign? But what we have lost focus on is that people don't want to be talked into anything anymore. People want to feel like they're empowered and making empowered buying decisions. And we make empowered buying decisions because it feels good. We really only buy because something feels good. And when we're operating as a business owner from that limbic brain that's enabling our prospects to feel good about wanting to connect with us, they're gravitating with us. The whole know me, like me, trust me thing is very cortex brain. Resonating, when you resonate with another human being, now you're talking from the limbic brain. And if you want to build deeper relationships with people, it's all about the way that we resonate with each other. Somebody said before, yes, we're going to be judged about the brand and the reputation. It's all about how you make people feel, because people don't care about anything else other than how you made them feel. So the biggest mistake that business owners make is that they're focusing too much on the seller's journey. And the seller's journey in a traditional sales environment is all about objection handling. What to say when the wife says no, what to say when we can't get through the receptionist, what to say. It's all manipulation, getting to a point of closing the deal. If someone says, how many deals have you closed? To me, I don't focus on closing deals. I focus on how many people I've actually helped. So this is when we move away from transactional and we move into what I call the relationship age of business, which is all partnership based. It is all collaboration based. It's 100% service based, but the most important part is it's care based. And in order for it to be care based, we have to understand our buyer's journey, not focus on the seller's journey. Every meeting on a Monday morning, we would go through stats. What was our targets? Who did we sell to? How many did we close? What was that whole KPI stuff has nothing to do with the buyer's journey. It's all sellers. So when we learn that the first 60% of people that we're talking to are not looking for what we're trying to sell them, what I see is the majority of people spending the majority of their time trying to convince this 60% to buy. And when you're in convincing mode, as far as I'm concerned, you don't have anything worth selling, because a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. And if I need to be convinced, then it's not for me. And if I need to convince someone else, then I know I'm only doing it for me. So when we learn that the first 60% of people are not after what we have, then we've got a market of 40% that we need to talk with. Now, this 40%, the mindset that goes down around this is that we need to understand that 20% of the people are in that buyer's cycle right now. They want to buy something, but they don't know what. They're unsure. There's confusion. So when we're working from collaboration and we're collaborating with our clients, it's all about working that out with them for the greatest outcome for them, so that we're moving them through their buyer's journey so that they are making the right decision for them. The next group is the 17%. And this is where you really, the 20% and the 17%, this is where you want to be spending 90% of your time. These people have done their research. These people think they know what they want. These people are coming to you as the expert in your field to help them make sure that they are making the right decision for them. When people understand that they're making the right decision for them, they do not experience buyer's remorse. For those that don't understand what buyer's remorse is, it's simple. We've bought something on emotion and then we've walked away and we thought, why did we do that? And the reason that we did that is because someone got into our cortex brain and made it sound so logical that how could we say no? But the reality is we know subconsciously that it's not the right thing for us. When we're collaborating with these people, then we're moving them through that buyer's journey until they know exactly what they want. These people are the ones that have done their research. They know the price. They're coming to you because, to be honest, you're probably the cheapest in what it is. Here's my credit card. You've probably had no interaction with these people. But these are the people that I say the universe is rewarding you for showing up every day. And I think that's the biggest key when it comes to the psychology and the mindset of small business owners. It's to show up every day despite our current circumstances and what's going on in our business. And that's the universe saying, well done. So when we're moving into 100% collaboration, I look at this group of people right now and I see all these different business owners that are wanting to collaborate together as business owners. But what I fail to see all the time when I'm talking to people is that they're not collaborating with their clients. And that's where the magic source is. When we're collaborating with our clients, you watch your sales go through the roof. And when we move into what I call the raving fan flow chart, this is the big difference. If you get a referral lead, if you get 10 referral leads, this has all come from collaboration, advocacy, and partnerships in most cases. These 10 people are coming to you because they already trust you. You do not have to build that trust. It's already there. They're seeking you out based on that recommendation, like what Toby said before, of why they should come to this person. This is a warm lead. If you're not having 8 conversations out of these 10 leads that are coming through your doors, you know you have a problem with your systems and your processes and your procedures. And if you're not getting at least 50% of these conversations into customers, then you have a big problem with your communication because they're already coming to you ready to buy. Now, I think in this model, you really should have at least a 70% closing rate, because if you're doing the right thing by the client, there are clients that you have that you're not going to be able to serve. And I would much rather see people say, you know what, I can't help you with that. I think Toby's the best person for you. Go and see Toby, instead of the transactional world of get the sale and then let's figure out how we do it later. So big difference. If you're not getting that 70% closing rate, then it's your communication and it's your skills. What we must start focusing on, though, is the repeat sales. 50% of these people must buy from you again because they have that trust that you can deliver. And when I say must, it's not a must from your side, it's a must from their side. They want to keep doing business with you. The average client retention rate, if you're doing your job right, is 3 years. So if you look at the client base that you have, how many of those have been working with you for a 3-year period? And if they're not, then we know it's your systems, your processes, or your communication that's falling apart. But the truth is, people will not refer to you until they are absolutely prepared to rebuy from you again. So if we're operating in that transactional world of 100 leads for 3 sales, you know that there's no long-term client retention. You know the likelihood of a referral business is very, very low. But once they're prepared to buy from you again, they will absolutely become a raving fan for you. And then you can actually reduce your marketing expenses and keep what you need to do out there from what I think a branding perspective, just to keep that going, but not from a direct funnel source, because your business is coming from people that want to work from you. A referral has a 70% high conversion rate. A referral has a 70% faster closing rate. So if we think about, we go into business for more time, more money, more freedom. How do we have more time, more money, more freedom? If we're spending our money in the wrong areas, we're spending our time in the wrong areas, then the freedom that those 2 opportunities provide are not there. And they have a higher retention rate and a much stronger repeat business rate. And that's why the relationship model will always outdo the transactional model. And this is what I call the long-term game. You get this right, and then you've got a business that will sustain the test of time. So I know I'm out of time, so I'm happy to wrap it up there. Oops.